guys, and welcome to this week's video. This week I'll be playing with polymer clay. I've always wanted to play with polymer clay, and I found this really cheap set on Amazon for about £10, which had plenty of colours on there, some little accessories to make jewellery bits, and lots of little cute tools to be able to play with. Now this is my first venture into polymer clay. I've had a play in the past with some air drying clay, and I know that this is very different. Now according to this book, there were 3 methods in which to be able to bake these. You bake them in the oven, you could steam bake them, or you could hair blower heating them, which I tried that method and it just didn't work, so I ended up oven baking these. This set is fairly cheap, so I wanted to go with a cheap set of polymer clay because I've never played with polymer clay before and I didn't want to spend a ton of money on a big set. So I decided I was just going to get a small set and have a play around with it. And I figured this would be a really good idea to make some Christmas brooches. So I've got some brooch backs from when I've made my wooden brooches, and I also picked up some pin backs as well. So the first thing I did was I warmed up the clay. Now, yet again, I am fairly new to this. There is lots that I have learnt while doing this whole thing, and I thought it was very interesting to try out different methods, and the more I got to have a play around with it, the better understanding that I actually did have. So I wanted to create some like cute little Christmassy designs and make them into cute little brooches, as I said before. So I decided to do some Christmas pudding, some snowmen, some robins, and some like Christmas presents and little elves and all sorts of little things to try and have a play around with it. Now the first thing I noticed was I kept getting my fingerprints in this so much, and there are ways to avoid that. From what I was reading up on and from what videos I was watching and research I was trying to do with it, there are ways of being able to avoid that by using a little bit of, I believe it was a little bit of alcohol just to smooth it out with a Q-tip. Also I found as well that if you use dark colours and light colours at the same, you need to wash your hands in between it, because even if you handle those colours for like literally 5 minutes, those light colours end up getting super dirty super quickly. And I found that after I started to clean my hands in between colours, I was avoiding this issue and it wasn't having as much decolorization or having like too much of a bleed all the way through. As well, another thing that I noticed was from after doing all these, I was doing a bit of research onto it and finding out what's the best methods, and I found out that if you have a glass surface, it tends to roll around much better and is easier malleable. Now the thing is you need to warm up these clay, and for some reason some clays were harder to warm up than others. This might just be the type of clay that I'm using. It is a very cheap polymer clay. It's not the most expensive polymer clay that's going to be out there, since it's a tenner for this whole box, but I found it was really difficult to warm up, and I couldn't quite tell when I first did them how long to do it, because the instructions said 15 to 20 minutes. So I did that, and it didn't mention anything about putting foil on the top. So when my first batch, when I tried this, I put foil on the bottom of it like I'd seen other people do, but in the instructions that this booklet came with, it didn't actually tell me to put foil over the top, so I baked it for the amount of time that it told me to, and my first batch burned badly burnt. I managed to save a few of them by painting it with acrylics, which is a method that you can do, and after I had finished the pieces, I sealed them with Mod Podge. Yeah, these are my burnt pieces. Look how burnt they turned out. I was so disappointed, but I was able to save a few of these, so then I didn't have to throw away the entire batch, which was good. I was able to paint them with acrylic and then seal it with Mod Podge, just so that the colours were nice and bright and shiny. I think it's really fun to try something different, and I definitely will be doing polymer clay in the future. I have a better understanding of what I could have done to change this and what I could do to improve in the future, so I definitely know what to go back on. This is me going over the acrylic paint. I did notice I had to do a few coats with this. Yet again, it's not the most expensive acrylic paint. I'm still trying to get used to acrylic paint, to get the colours nice and vibrant. But overall, I was really happy. Even though they were burnt, I was really happy with the effects that it came out. Now, I found out that burning can happen with the polymer clay if it's on too high a temperature, but when I was looking up in the booklet, it told me to do it at 150. With the next batch, I decided to cook them at 130 and did them for 10 minutes instead of 15, and that worked out any kinks that I had with any of them, which was absolutely perfect. I definitely learned a lot from doing this, as I've reiterated several times. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about doing this was it was something different. I get fed up of drawing a lot. I love drawing to pieces, I love painting, I love trying out new things, but I get fed up of doing the same things all the time. And I think it's always good to mix it up and try something different. And I really enjoyed doing these, and these are going to make cute little gifts for people. I wouldn't sell these simply because I don't think my skills are quite there yet. It's going to be a while, I think, before my skills would be in any way, shape or form high enough to be able to do it. But I just had a lot of fun with this. It was something that I'd never really done before. Like I said, I had to play around with clay, but it was a completely different material to clay. It was kind of interesting that when they were cooked, they weren't quite like hard like I was expecting them to. They were kind of like a little bit spongy in a way, a little bit more flexible. At first I was like super confused, thinking that I had completely baked them incorrectly, but after a bit of research, it turns out this is just the way that the material is, which is absolutely fantastic, because I think that it gives a beautiful little bit of give to it, and it means that you're not having to bake them until they're completely hard. When I was doing a bit of research, you can bake these multiple times, so it doesn't necessarily have an issue, and I thought that was fantastic. And I definitely want to be trying out a few more Sculpey or polymer clay things in the future. I like the idea of making teeny tiny sculptures. I think they're a lot of fun. I'd love to make some little prickles earrings at some point and try out a few different things. Like I said, this was just a quick and easy way for me to try something new, and plus on top of that I ended up making quite a few Christmas gifts, which is always good. I made these little brooches for friends and family, so then they've got something a little bit small, and I feel like I put a little bit of effort into it and I didn't have to spend an awful amount of money, which is always good. In fact, I think for everything, the glue, including the brooches, the polymer clay, and the little boxes, I think I spent around about £20 in total, which, when you think about it, I've made a batch of about 40 brooches out of this, and I've still got tons of clay left over. That is really, really good. That's a really good way of not having to break the bank, and you're able to make cute little gifts for people. And it's always good to be able to do something a little bit creative and have a little bit of fun with what you are doing. I found that the more I was doing this, the more confident I was getting with it, and I was just in general having a really nice time. It's just meant that I wasn't sat down drawing, I was doing something creative. I was able to catch up with some YouTube videos and catch up with all the artists that I really enjoyed it, and I think in the future I'd love to make little gifts with these. As I said, I'd love to make some little cute jewelry pieces, like little prickles, little bits of like maybe magnets would be really cute as a little like brooch. And just, it got me thinking about all the ideas. And if you guys were playing with polymer clay, what kind of brooches would you make? I know these are all Christmas themed, but if you can make a Christmas themed brooch, what kind of Christmas themed brooch would you go for? And if you weren't, like, what would you do? Like, it's interesting. You can see I'm watching Critical Role here. I didn't realise that that was in the frame. I do apologise. Like I said, I was catching up with all the shows that I was missing, and which is really good, because normally when I'm drawing I'm so hyper focused that I don't actually able to catch up with anything, which sounds really small and insignificant, but sometimes some of these podcasts I listen to are like 4 or 5 hours long, and you know, a girl's gotta catch up. I really liked these little penguins and the little deers that I was making. I love the little polar bears. This is because one of my friends is obsessed with polar bears, and he was just like, you need to make a polar bear. Well, I was like, okay. And it got me thinking about like lots of little ideas, and I found that the more I was playing with it, the quicker I was getting, and the more I was just finding new and interesting ways to play with the clay. Now, the one thing I did notice is one of these whites was actually translucent, and I did not know that it was a translucent clay. It wasn't obvious to me. I can imagine someone who's more familiar with polymer clay would have noticed that it was meant to be a translucent one, but none of these had like labels on them to tell you what colours they were or anything like that. So when I baked it and it was kind of a little bit see-through, I was really confused, and then I suddenly realised that, oh, these must be the see-through clay that you can get, which I know that you can mix it with other colours to expand the batch, and I know you can use it to lighten certain colours as well. I thought it was really interesting, really. And then I made these little elves. I made some of them look like Buddy the Elf. I was just having a lot of fun. I was just trying out lots of different things, and I think that's really good to sometimes push yourself and try something different. Will I try it with a more expensive polymer clay in the future? Absolutely. I will probably try the Sculpey and Fimo brand, which I've been told has been highly recommended. But if you guys have got any tips for Sculpey or polymer clay, let me know in the comment section down below. I'm a complete and utter noob when it comes to things like this, and I found that sculpting is really therapeutic and you can really relax and have a good time with it. So it's always good fun to be able to do that. So obviously doing this has got me thinking about next year and thinking about what I would like to achieve and what I would really like to do for this channel next year. I feel like this year has kind of been very hit and miss with me. I've had some really, really beautiful, wonderful moments here on this channel, and I am ever so grateful for all the support and love and everything that I get from this channel. And I feel like I need to step it up a little bit. I feel like my content sometimes can be a little bit same old, and this is one of the reasons why this month I really wanted to push myself and do something other than drawing. So I'm putting the question to you guys: what would you like to see on this channel? I'm always going to do stuff that I want to do, that interests me, because I kind of think like the content that I'd like to put out, that it would be something that I would like to watch, and that is something that I've always stood by. But I know that there's always something more that I could be doing, that there is. For example, I'd love to do some art book reviews in the future. I'd love to show like my top 10 art books. I'd love to do like art days with friends and do more what's the word now? I'd like to do more for this channel that's other than just drawing. Next year I'm going to be throwing myself a lot into comic making, and I'm going to be throwing myself a lot more into book making and pin making and t-shirt making and all sorts, and I'd like to show a variety on this channel so that it's just a little bit more than just drawing videos. So let me know what you think in the comment section down below. This doesn't mean that necessarily my content is going to completely change. I'd like to up my video schedule back up again to 2 to 3 videos a week. I want to bring back 2-Minute Tuesdays because I really loved doing those, and I found that this year I was so overwhelmed easily by so much that it affected a lot of the stuff that I outputted on this channel. And it's only been in this month where I've tried out different things that I wouldn't normally do. I'm finding that I'm revigorated and motivated to work hard again and do something different and push myself and push my boundaries, and more than anything, have fun. Because I think that's what we forget with our art. We forget to have fun, and this has definitely been fun. I never thought I'd be making brooches with polymer clay. I always said that I couldn't do that, that was not something that I could do. And here I am, I'm trying it out. Why not? So this is basically me packaging these little brooches into the gift boxes. I found some tissue paper in the pound shop, and essentially what I do is I put tissue paper in the bottom of here, and then put the brooch on the little white back, and then it just presents it, makes it a little bit nicer than just having the brooch in the white foam anyway. It just makes it look a little bit more presentable, it's a little bit more Christmassy, and hey, I've just sorted out 40 people's worth of Christmas gifts, which is always good. I really enjoyed this, and I've really enjoyed this month of trying something different. Going back to the subject of talking about stuff that I'd like to do, I'd really like to do a monthly sketch challenge. Now, not necessarily having to fill a sketchbook in a month, because that's insane, but I'd really like to say, okay, for that month I'm practicing backgrounds, for this month I'm practicing perspective. I think it would be really good to do that, and then sort of showcase that at the end of each month on the channel, and what overall I learned from it. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I know it is a little bit longer than normal. I just had so much footage. It was just really difficult to chop and change a lot of it. But here are all my little Christmassy brooches. I'm really happy with these. I think it was a really good way to do a little Christmas design, and it's, you know, it's not too expensive to be able to make people Christmas gifts. Hope you guys have enjoyed this video. Make sure to like, maybe comment, and if you're new, subscribe. But as always, folks, stay creative.